Hello, my name is Wes Dawson, and I would like to welcome you to a very Gabagool Christmas. Yes, this is a special episode of Gabagool Nate with all kinds of Yuletide cheer. By far my gayest episode to date, and by gay, of course, I mean happy and jovial. We are going to start this holiday episode by giving out a present to either YouTube or whoever flagged one of my last videos. It's a neatly wrapped present, beautiful wrapping, beautiful technique, and within, you open up that box on that magical Christmas morning, it's a giant fuck you. Yeah, so I was flagged due to some copyright infringement issues with a clip of a song I used. I brought some attention to John Parr and his song Man in Motion. Now, God forbid, how foolish of me to think that I would try to garner some new interest in a artist nobody's heard of from a song nobody remembers in a movie that nobody watched. Well, at the top of the show, I said this is a very Gabagool Christmas, and in fact, it is. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas or a cultural equivalent. You know, Christmas is a very special time of year. For me personally, I don't necessarily celebrate the birth of Christ. I celebrate more Santa Claus breaking into our homes and leaving us some stuff. You know, it's a time of year where you get to spend precious moments with family members. You get to give a bunch of crap, receive a bunch of crap. Why everyone thinks that's such a terrible thing that if you have the financial means to do so, to buy a gift for somebody you care about, I'm not sure why that's such an evil, horrible, capitalistic thing. You know, if you feel obliged to buy a gift for a friend or family member, they're probably not a very good friend, and what are they, like a third cousin? Who cares? So I've been told that saying Merry Christmas is offensive to some people, which I don't understand in the least. It could be rude if you're incessant on it. Someone's like, hey, I'm an atheist, or hey, I celebrate Hanukkah, and you keep saying, yeah, well, it's Jesus' birthday. Yeah, then you're trekking into offensive territory there. But by saying Merry Christmas to someone who doesn't necessarily celebrate that given holiday, why would that be offensive? It's like if you tell someone happy birthday and it's not their birthday, it's not offensive. You just fucked up and got the wrong date. You say, oh, sorry about that, and move on. It's really not that big a cause of concern. So at the top of the show, I wished everyone a Merry Christmas, but that also applies to Happy Hanukkah, Crazy Kwanzaa, all the other holidays. Happy cultural equivalent. So earlier I mentioned Kwanzaa, which is everybody's go-to example of, hey, look, I know about other cultures and religions. Here's this one that I don't actually know anything about. So I decided to do a little deep dive, find out a little bit about this holiday. So Kwanzaa is a celebration taking place between December 26th and January 1st, culminating in a communal feast known as Karamu. And if I'm pronouncing all this wrong, well, I loosely looked it up online, so I'm not surprised. It was created by a Dr. Maulana Karenga in 1966. Immediately, that right there, I was like, oh, you know, all these other religions, whether you want to believe in the fairy tales that go along with them, at least they got like 2,000 years of people backing this shit up. This thing is from the 60s, the late 60s. Like, honestly, no disrespect to people that celebrate it, but I'm like, I thought this thing was steeped in like centuries-year-old tradition. This is basically, if I want to start a yearly holiday celebration, I could see it come to fruition within my lifetime. So this is a holiday that celebrates African heritage, unity, culture. It's whatever way you want to celebrate, go for it. The whole point is to reflect on your year, be with family, and plan on how you're going to make the next year even better. At least that's my opinion. And as I read up on it, there were so many things that were going to draw some harsh criticisms by yours truly that I figured, you know, in the spirit of the holidays and understanding unity, I'll just skim over that and I'll just jump to the one thing that really stood out for me. So Karenga said that Kwanzaa was created to be an alternative to Christmas. He believed that Jesus was psychotic and Christianity was a, quote, white religion that black people should shun. Well, it's interesting because I could think of a few million black Christians who may disagree with that. Well, I didn't want to spend too much time on that subject because who am I to stick my giant cartilaginous nose into somebody else's culture? Another issue that arises around this time of year are people's disdain and intense hatred of Christmas music. First off, fuck you. Because secondly, who gives a shit what you think? Probably the music you listen to at home is even worse than that, so who are you to judge? It's once a year, it's not for that long, and if it brings happiness to other people, what's the big deal? Walking down the street, 99% of people have their earbuds in anyway, so it's not like you can actually hear this music being played. Now, just because your only childhood Christmas memory is Uncle Jim slipping you a Yuletide log at night after a couple too many nogs at the family Christmas party is no reason to take a giant dump on everybody else's Christmas time. I don't know if you realize this, but those of you who are so vocal in your hatred of Christmas music, you're basically the holiday audio equivalent of Karens shutting down kids' lemonade stands. You ought to be proud. And if you're tired of hearing the same old Christmas tunes, why don't you try and update them a bit? I could think of some great renditions that'll easily spice up your Christmas party and piss your parents off quite a bit. So why not go dashing through the snow with Goldfinger's Christmas EP and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You have 2013's Christmas Songs by Bad Religion, and honestly, this entire album is a fucking banger.
Glory to the newborn King, Christ the High.
And if that doesn't float your boat, why don't you check out Masked Intruder's Silent Night? You know, the list goes on and on, but honestly, we are running out of time, and I'm kind of done listing Christmas covers that you'll never listen to by bands you've never heard of. So we're going to jump right into good bad. So what good? The Christmas tree tradition. Myself personally, I love this part of the year, sitting around with family while I do all the heavy lifting and basically all of the work to set up the tree. I love it. The bad is all that tinsel put on the tree, which personally I fucking hate. All it's good for is creating psychedelic colored cat shit. All right, a non-holiday good. Modern cell phone technology. It's great. Helps us communicate, stay up to date, entertain ourselves. The bad? Whoever invented speakerphone. No one cares about the private conversation you're having publicly. You really think you're that cool we need to hear about your mediocre job, your dingus friends, and your ugly girlfriend? Nobody cares how cool you are because you listen to whatever band. Just as I don't care when my neighbors say, slow down, my kids play here. What do I care? I have collision insurance. We're going to jump right into Shoot and Pistol Whip, which this week's, they're kind of linked into the good bad for this episode. So, tinsel. Easy. Shoot. Whoever created it, whoever brought it into my house to put on the tree, the cats were eating it. It is just the scourge of my holiday season. Whoever created speakerphone, not only are you a bad, but also shot dead. Don't need you, don't want you. I hate your technology. And the people who use their speakerphone out in public, you guys know who I'm talking about. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for this very special episode. We're going to touch on some upcoming topics. Next week, I'm going to list my top 5 New Year's resolutions, and they're not what you expect. And also, I'm going to recreate the scene from Home Alone 2. You know when that homeless lady is like the swarm of pigeons come fly around her, and she's surprisingly not covered in any bird shit? Yeah. I want to wish everyone a very happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and whatever other holiday you want to throw in there, put a happy or a merry before it, and that is my sentiment to you. Spend time with your family. If you don't like your family, fuck them, go buy yourself something, enjoy it. Either way, all the best in the new year. Thank you very much, and take care.